Wow, well, we just got some pretty big news on Elio and its catastrophic development that it had. One of the original plans they had for the character of Elio, and a lot of it is like, wow, they must have changed a lot on this movie. So before I talk about this topic, I'm going to be going into a bit spoilers of Elio later in this video. I will warn you guys when I talk about spoilers. And hey, if you're new here, please make sure to like and subscribe. And just to let you guys know, yeah, I was gone for about 10 days. That was because my shoulder was strained and my chest was really throbbing. It was frustrating, but I am back now, and with that disclaimer out of the way, let's talk about this topic. Details on Elio's catastrophic development path. Elio was initially portrayed as a queer-coded character, with also a scene in Elio's bedroom with pictures suggesting a male crush. Budget was actually $200 million, north of $200 million. The Elio that's in theaters right now is far worse than Adrian's best version of the original, adds Pixar staffer. The final cut of the film had a test screening where audiences were asked how many of them would see them in a theater, and not a single hand was raised. Now, the first thing about Elio being a gay character, I actually think that would have been very unique, because the article that I saw for this, they said that when they took that storyline away, you just made Elio kind of a generic kid. He's just kind of a nobody without that part to him to it. I think that would have been really cool. However, I think it would have alienated a lot of families to go see this movie. Pixar is a studio made for kids, and I'm not saying that like LGBTQ isn't family friendly or anything. It's just how some parents will view them, and they'll probably see that and go, do I want to show my kid that, or do I really want to have this long conversation of what this is? I don't think parents are going to really want that. And Pixar sadly saw the price with that with like Lightyear. That's not the reason why the movie flopped, but the same-sex kiss, people went crazy for it. People were calling the movie woke and everything. It's like, oh my gosh, guys. And even parents didn't want to take their kids to see it because, well, they probably don't want their kids to know about that stuff. They just wanted to go see a Buzz Lightyear movie. I'm not saying it was bad in the movie. I actually quite like that they did that. But Pixar is seeing that it has not worked, and this was actually a decision that was not Disney. This was Pixar's decision to do this. Now, this is where I'm going to get into some spoilers of Elio. So if you have not seen the movie, well, sorry if you haven't seen it, but if you have seen it, please continue here because I actually want to make a prediction of one of the characters that is in this movie. So I think the character Bryce, this black kid in the movie, I think he was originally going to be Elio's crush. Just think about it. He's tall, he's good looking, has a deep voice, and he's a lot nicer than his stupid ass friend Caleb. And how he like fits into the story, he's barely utilized in the movie, while Bryce is heavily third act to help Elio in his ship, and then by the end of the movie they become friends, and they even talk to Glorden at the end. Now, I'm a tad iffy on the part that they say the version of Elio we have now is far worse. Now, I loved Elio and thought it was great, but I will admit the movie felt rushed, especially toward the end of the movie where the conflict just kind of rushed itself because the runtime said, oh, we gotta end the movie quickly. They probably had a much better ending, and they probably had a lot more fleshed out ideas in the original version until Pixar saw that, yeah, this is probably not working out, which is why they had to heavily rework this movie. Unfortunate though, because I think that gay storyline would have been great, but Pixar saw that that wasn't working, and that's probably why they did heavy rewrites, heavy changes, and why Adrian Molina said that he never finished the path in this movie and that he wasn't made to finish this film, which is why he ultimately left. Elio's not a bad movie, but you can clearly tell that there was a lot of trouble during the production, and if they just stuck with the original version, would that one be better? Maybe. Because I think the whole storyline about are we alone and loneliness, that seems like also a very last minute change they did too, because in the original version it sounds like the whole gay part of Elio now was going to have a much bigger meaning and message, and since Pixar didn't want that, they had to remove it and had to scramble to find a message at the last second, which is why Elio's message, while good, it's not as creative or as unique as other Pixar films. And the last part, the first cut of the movie had a test screening where audiences were asked of how many of them would see it in a theater, and not a single hand was raised? Like, that must have been like, ooh, we are not doing a great job. I heard Pixar was not happy with this movie well, we all heard it. They weren't happy with this movie a while ago. But now hearing that more, it's like, dang. And so far, with Elio doing decent at the box office, it's not doing great though. I don't know if these changes were either necessary or not, because you just spent a lot more money on changing a movie that might just end up being forgotten and might flop, which is unfortunate. I love Pixar, but I hope that they do not keep having these production troubles in the near future. I hope not. So yeah, that's Elio's catastrophic development path. How do you kind of take all this and leave your thoughts down below?